This is Steve Robbins. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys, quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. Until now, most of my tips have been from the perspective of employees, and we're going to be branching out into topics for employers and managers, so please send feedback, questions, and comments to help us choose future topics. What do managers do anyway? Early in my career, I didn't know. At my first job out of college, my first manager was Sheldon. Sheldon always looked rather worried. He would scurry around the office being busy and worried. But as for what he actually did, it remained a mystery. But someday, I knew the secrets would be revealed. Eventually, I became a manager. At last, they would share the sacred tome of management knowledge. Surely chapter 1 would be all about what managers do. I'd read it, hunker down, and become the best manager ever. Nope, they didn't give me the sacred tome. They just said, you're a manager now. No instruction, no training. They just tossed me into the deep end of the managerial swimming pool without swimming lessons. Fortunately, I didn't sink. In the 16th century, this would have meant that I was a witch. In modern times, it just means something about my fat-to-muscle ratio that I would really rather not examine too closely. But you, my brave get-it-doners, will not have to worry about sinking or swimming, for today, I will tell you what the heck managers do. Managers are not bosses. I overheard a subway conversation about managers. Don't worry, I had my earbuds on, so no one knew that I was eavesdropping. One person said, I want to be a manager so I can boss people around. Many managers do think that's their job, that they're a boss. They boss people around. They're bossy. And when people don't do what the manager tells them to do, they whip them mercilessly and then cackle in the satisfaction of their power. Yes, this is how many managers behave. No, this is not their job. Their job is to keep the company moving forward. Managers coordinate. We have managers for the same reason that orchestras have conductors. Every orchestra member knows how to play their instrument, but they need to come in and out at the right places at the right tempo and volume so that the orchestra overall produces one coherent, beautiful piece of music. The conductor is the one in charge of getting all of the individuals to work together to make the music beautiful. Every individual contributor, which is of course the fancy word that managers use to refer to non-managers, will do best if they can become totally immersed in their job and just do the best they can. But they don't necessarily know everyone else's deadlines and priorities. A designer needs to create packaging as part of a product launch, but they don't necessarily know the manufacturing lead times or who else in the company needs to sign off on the packaging. The manager coordinates. Managers schedule. The most obvious coordination is scheduling. A manager finds out which deliverables are needed by whom and when, and then they help everyone start the right things at the right times, get approvals from all the right people, and set priorities as events unfold to get deliverables delivered where they need to be, when they need to be there. That was one big sentence. Managers also acquire resources. Managers make sure that their team has what they need to get the job done. Resources can be tangible, things like equipment, computers, raw materials. Resources can be intangible. Things like decision-making authority, encouragement, training, accurate, useful feedback on the quality of their work, and so on. Managers protect their team. In order for a team to get their work done, they have to have the time and resources to do their work. In normal work life, forces of evil do everything they can to prevent this. When I was a high-tech project manager, another project would ask, Stever, can we borrow one of your engineers for a teeny-weeny little project? It'll only take a day or two. Actually, it took a week. And the ramp down, ramp back up time added more to that. They also took our quality assurance person for a month. Astonishingly, that project delivered on time and the project manager got a trip to Hawaii to celebrate. My project, despite being cannibalized and interrupted, delivered early under budget. I was given a pat on the back and recognition. Recognition was the 20th century version of exposure, a currency used to exploit talented people without actually, paying them. Evil doesn't always come from inside the company. Sometimes stuff happens outside. Big customers cancel an order. Vendors don't deliver things on time. A manager shields their team from as much of these forces of evil as they can. They handle incoming requests so the team doesn't have to, and when chaos happens, they work to fix the problem so the team can stay focused on what they're doing. Managers evaluate performance. When the team is free to get into the flow of work, they're performing at their best. And it's a manager's job to understand what that best is. How is each team member contributing to the team? What does each person bring to the table? The manager is in charge of evaluating the team and its members, and over time, manager evaluations shape the company. Evaluations factor into career paths, bonuses, and of course whether employees sabotage the company before they quit in indignant outrage over how poorly they're treated. Managers translate goals. A more subtle managerial job is taking high-level goals and turning them into team goals. If the company decides to create the world's best filing cabinet with a built-in shredder for those awkward FBI moments, a manager turns that into their team's specific goal. Design a hanging file strong enough to hold files and shreddable enough not to slow down the machinery. Managers, lastly, get out of the way. This is really important. Many managers say they want to motivate their people. Well, you know what? In my experience, managers rarely motivate people, but boy, do they demotivate them. People generally come to a job enthusiastic, wanting to do well and ready to get things done. But some managers are overly controlling or they're critical, they don't answer questions, they don't support their employees. The employees, correctly, conclude that they're too constrained to commit to the job and they check out. After a survey of millions of employees, the Gallup organization reports that the number one reason people leave a job is having a bad manager. From my point of view, Sheldon may have been goofing off in his office all day reading comic books. I never saw him one way or the other. But paradoxically, his invisibility could have been because he was doing a great job. He may have been coordinating who was doing what so the entire project would come together on time. He might have been protecting us from organizational politics. We wouldn't know. He was protecting us from it. He could have been sweating over our performance reviews so that we knew what we were and weren't doing well. He might have been wrangling the corporate goals into team goals so that we would move the entire company forward. But what he definitely was doing was getting out of the way so that we could each do what we do best. I'm Steve Robbins. Follow Get It Done Guy on Twitter and Facebook. And you know what? If you're an entrepreneur, if you're self-employed, or control your own time, if you have stalled projects or habits that you want to develop, like prospecting or doing regular finances or doing regular marketing, come join a Get It Done group. Learn more at getitdonegroups.com. That's getitdonegroups.com. Work less, do more, and have a great life.